You are now listening to the Dual Position Podcast.
The boys are back to talk all things SuperCoach all season long.
Please welcome your hosts, Whisperer and Brew.
There is a plethora of big names coming back to SuperCoach this week. You've got you've got Travojevic, you've got To'o, you've got Elliot Whitehead, but none more bigger than the great man himself has returned after a few weeks off. Brewski, how are we, my big friend?
Going good, brother. Going very good, and it's good to be back.
Very, very much so. How have you been? Everyone wants to know how you've been. How are you going personally?
On the mend, feeling better. I'm in good areas.
Very, very good to hear. Just want to give a quick shout out to Adrian, SC Adrianosaurus, however you know him. Without him, I don't know if I would have recorded the last month or so. I've made it pretty clear how much I hate recording solo, and Ado stepped up in a time of need, and he was fantastic. I cannot give him enough praise as possible. Helped Brew out immensely, helped myself out immensely. Just an absolute top bloke, and severely helped this podcast out dramatically while Brew was taking the time that I guess he needed. In saying that, my friend, how has SuperCoach been? Because the last time we saw you, I think your rank was like 40k, and it has well and truly gone down from there. So the last month or so has gone well. You inform me that you have 0 boosts left, so that's always nice to hear. What's been happening with the SuperCoach front?
After probably 3 rounds there, I was somewhere between 50 and 70k. So obviously got off to a really bad start, and the boosts, I think the boosts are a bit overrated. I don't think if you buy a plan well enough, I don't really think you need them. To be honest, COVID's
just nowhere near as big as we thought heading into the season, is it?
No, not really. And if you've got a good enough squad, then you can manage that anyway. So I've gone hard. I thought to myself, you know what? I'm in a pickle here. I'm a fighter. I'm going to fight. I'm going to use my boosts. I'm going to get to a strong side as quickly as I possibly can. And that's what I've done. I've actually got a pretty good side now. I've still made some mistakes over the last month that, 50-50 decisions that have gone against me. I got Stags. I think it was a couple of weeks ago when he got 27. The other alternative was to get Cleary. I said, Stags minus 65 break even. Cleary can wait a week. Cleary goes out and gets 150 odd. And, I captained Moses for 80 and that hurt me real bad that week. And they're the little things, I guess, that's probably the difference between me being, say, top 2.5K and being 9K like I am at the moment. But it's, we're going okay. I'm climbing slowly, and we worked out, we had a chat earlier. I'm only 500 points off, say, the top 250. So that's a couple of good rounds, and you're well and truly back in that top 1,000 conversation.
Yeah, definitely. Like, those 50-50 calls are huge. Like, I think the 50-50 calls that I've made have paid off, and it's the reason why we're just outside the top 500. Like, we brought in Cleary a week early. We brought in Talakai basically the week that he exploded. We brought in Cody Walker last week. Like, those 50-50 calls that I've made have gone well. The ones that you've made haven't gone well. And it's the same thing with, like, Aman. So I was talking to Aman as well, and, like, the calls that he made haven't gone too well, and he's ranked similar to where you are. So it just shows that like, just a little bit of luck is all it takes, but I'm sure that will come in full swing. Like, it happens in SuperCoach. It's very rare that you go 25 rounds with nothing going wrong. And with my trades this week, could be make or break, but we'll see how it goes. Teamless Tuesday actually was a really, really big one in terms of, like, total news. First game, the Broncos Souths, Payne Haas out. Second most owned player in SuperCoach, out for a week. We brought him in 2 weeks ago. His first hit up, I broke him, which is not good. So Kurt Catewell, he is also out. And your preseason love child, Isaiah Tass, named at centre with Tane Milne, still out. Got some really good junk points at the end of last week. And like, I was watching him, he was on like 30 odd, and then stopped watching, and then I checked back and he's on like 60 odd, and saw he got some good late time junk. Your boy, your preseason Smokey, has got some game time. Is he in your plans?
Oh, look, I really want to go there. Obviously, as you highlighted, I was very high on him in the preseason. I said that it wouldn't take him long to earn that jumper. It's interesting that Tane Milne's actually named in reserve grade too. So next week will be a very interesting watch for actually he played one game earlier this year, didn't he?
Yeah, this is the last week to get him before the prize rise.
Okay.
I think it's a -69 break even with rock bottom price. We'll touch on him, I guess, more in detail soon. The Raiders and the Dogs. My smoky, my bolter, Adam Elliott, started the week at 9 last week, and Tom Starling was relegated to the bench. And you were pumping his tyres up preseason. I don't think you were pumping his tyres up to play hooker though, but he showed some good class, and he's definitely in my plans this week. He's starting with Starling going back to the Pine. Josh Jackson is back into the side after being out with COVID. Jack Whiten is out, and Xavier Savage dropped. So he is out. For the Eels and the Panthers, Brian To'o named on the extended bench. It stains or may. We should know at about 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock on Thursday, we should know if he's playing or not, because the 24-hour cuts will come. But knowing Ivan Cleary, he'll keep Brian To'o in the 18. We'll have no idea what's happening. Dylan Brown back at 5'8" after the Jake Arthur experiment did not pan out too well, and Sean Russell on the extended bench. Bit of a one to watch there. Manly versus the Tigers. Hamwal Olakawatsu is back. Tom Travojevic is back. Josh Aloier is back. Ben Travojevic named in the centres. Jason Saab, Carl Lawton, Brad Parker all out. Stefano Utoikamanu, he is back in the squad on the bench. Luciano Leilua, David Norfoluma, and Jake Simpkin to start. Sorry, Luciano Norfa are out with Jake Simpkin to start. And Ken Mamalo, he's also back in the squad. The Roosters and the Titans. What's happened to the Roosters? You and I tipped them to go bloody undefeated for the minor premiership. It has not started too well. Billy Smith on the extended bench. Paul Momirovski in for Adam Kieran. David Fafita out. Jaden Campbell on the extended bench. Just some Supercoach relevant news there. The Knights have just been torn apart. Adam O'Brien has ripped up all the trees in Newcastle. The roots are out of the ground. Adam Clune, Jake Clifford, both out with Tex Hoy and Phoenix Crosland in the halves. Brodie Jones also out. Lachlan Fitzgibbon comes back. Leo Thompson starting. So you'd think Chris Randall plays basically the 80 minutes because the bench is just sort of a lot of middle and edge forwards. So you'd expect that Randall is locked in for 80. Big Teamless news. A couple other games were sort of unchanged. The Sharks were unchanged. The Cowboys were unchanged. Apart from that, mate, there is a lot happening. It's sort of this time of the year, isn't it? Like, coaches give players 4 or 5 weeks, and if it's not working out, it's just carnage around this time of year, like especially before Origin.
Yeah, and a lot of media pressure kicks in as well. And, you know, you can see that with the Knights, and I guess with Arthur getting dropped this week as well. You covered most of the talking points. The one big thing for me is that Ricky Roulette. It's kind of been pissing me off this season. You know, you're a Corey Hadawira
stock owner, aren't you?
Well, I was until last week. And then once, like, I was trying to hold him until the bye. And then once I saw him named on the bench last week and the way he's been getting played, shuffled out to center, and there was no attack. It's really weird. Like, every time he touches the ball, he gets a tackle bust or an offload or something, but they were just not giving him the ball. And I really want to get Adam Elliott this week. I spoke to you about that earlier.
Join me.
You know, it's a good price for fast cash. And the fact that he's actually named in the 9, I honestly, I didn't think I was going to do it because I thought he was going to get named in the 16 and then get switched at game time like Ricky does every single week. But he's actually named in the 9, and I feel like worst case scenario, he's going to whip out a 50. Also, and I can take that for 360.
Also, the fact that Tom Starling played probably his worst game ever last week. I don't want to say cost them the game, but in like the pivotal moment, he threw a terrible pass, and that sort of gave the game up. I'm not saying that Tom Starling cost them the game at all, but like, surely, like, Tom Starling has been one of the Raiders' best. And they haven't been getting results. So maybe Ricky just, like, you know, shakes it up. I don't know. Like, I think Adam Elliott scored like 101, but he had 30 points in attack. That's still like 71 points in like base power, which is like really enticing. And if he starts the game playing like 20 at hooker, plays the next 20 in the middle, has like a 15-minute spell after halftime, and then comes back on for like the last 25. Like, if he's playing 65 minutes, that's like enough for me at 370k with like a minus break even, round 13 buy option. Like, we just have to fade the Ricky Roulette, and I understand that, but we'll touch on that sort of in due course. Moving on to the top 10 most bought players this week. No surprise to see number 1 is your boy Isaiah Tuss. think he's got a minus 67 break even, bottom dollar price. Let's delve into it because Tane Milne has been named for reserve grade. You were saying in the preseason that it's a matter of time until he wins this spot, and he's looked really good, like in the spots that he's on, and more importantly, it's the left centre spot that he's nabbed as well. So you and I have spoken at length about this South draw, and it got good in round 5, and it doesn't stop until about round 20. Like, I think you and I have said that countless times. Are we overthinking this? Like, if you can afford to buy him and not rely on playing him week in, week out, like it's a slam dunk pick, if you have to play him, are you more worried about the job security, or is this just a buy for you no matter what?
Oh, it's not a buy no matter what. I think job security is definitely a concern. I was hoping I could wait and have another look, but obviously he did play that game off the bench, so that eliminates that option, which kind of throws my plans out a little bit. I was hoping that by next week we'd know either way, or seemingly know, and that I could just make the decision next week. So this might change my trades a little bit. I'm looking at it. I think he'll go well this week too against the Broncos. I think South in general will have a pretty bounce back performance this week.
He was a Broncos junior, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah. He's a big kid, big, strong kid. And I thought he did a lot of good things. Like, he did make some errors, and there's going to be errors in his game at his age, but I really liked what he did in attack. And they need attack at the moment because, you know, they were poor last week. Against 12 men to almost lose to Manly. That was appalling.
Give me 2 seconds. There is someone that is just absolutely spamming the chat. We're going to put him in timeout, so he is not replying to any of these messages. Cool. So, Isaiah Tuss, basically minus break even, bottom dollar price, slam dunk pick. Like, that's it. If you don't have to play him. Like, I'm in a very fortunate situation where I don't have to play the kid every week. I have 4 centre wings that we can rely on. I think it's just too good to pass up for me personally, and I understand why he is obviously the most purchased player this week. It's hard to argue against him. Number 2... Tamari Martin, look, me and Ado discussed this when he sort of first came into Supercoach relevance, has been putting up some okay scores, but the Broncos...
Not really.
Yeah, I'm not loving this one. I think people are just looking at the price and like, this is the time to get him. I'm not too sure if Tamari Martin is the guy that I would be going for.
Look, he's only been getting 50s. Like, 50s is nothing to really write home about. Max King gets 50s every week. Like, and he started bottom dollar, but I don't know. I think there's much better options this week. I would not be going to Murray Martin.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, I don't have his stats in front of me because he's not someone that I've ever really considered. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Tamari Martin buy personally. I feel like there are some better options. And one of them, if you can find the cash, I feel is Cody Walker. I jumped on him last week at bottom dollar because I felt like last week was the last week that you would get him at his rock 4+. Look, scored 100 against 12 men, though, for a large majority of the game. Adrian touched on it, was his 150th, and he'd be up for it, and he looked okay in parts, scored a try, had a couple of nice try assists. South's maybe looking to click a little bit better. Cody Walker, I've never thought we'd get him at less than 500k based off his form last year, but hell, like we've got him, and we saw a glimpse of it last week. Is he a guy that you're looking to bring in? Are you telling people not to buy him, or is like the price just too good to pass up for the pedigree that he has?
I don't mind getting him in, but I don't think his form's very good, to be honest with you. I think, okay, last week there was 1 or 2 nice passes that he made, but in general,
couple of
still
shockers.
Playing scrappy. He's out of position a lot. Like, the try was lucky, to be honest with you. Like, Tass popped that ball out, Miracle popped it out, and it just fell on his lap. You take that out, then he's only at 80, you know.
I think the thing was, like, they created a lot of overlaps, and a lot of Cody's balls to AJ, one of them was put in front of him, like he hit the ground. One of them was just put way behind him, and Cody Walker last year would have put that on the plate, and then AJ crashes over untouched. So Souths are creating chances. It's just I don't think Cody is in the best touch right now, and it's a case of like, do you want to buy him knowing that there could be a 20 or 100 on the cards? Because Souths do look better. It's just a case of can Cody flick that switch? A guy that you're looking at, and a guy that I can't get because the ship has sailed for me in terms of price, but boy, he's putting up some great scores, and it baffles me that Todd Payton didn't think he was in his best 17 at the start of the year, but Scott Drinkwater has taken this number 1 jersey with Hamiso out, and he is just lighting it up.
Yeah, I was on the fence with it, and then I kind of saw their upcoming draws okay for the next few weeks. It does get tricky. I'd have to check it. I think they've got an easy game, and then they've got 2 hard ones. So part of me is sitting there and going, okay, he's got 2 tons in a row. He's playing a really battered Newcastle side this week, who has named a pretty poor lineup, in my opinion, this week. They could get towed up based on what the Cowboys showed last week against a far greater side in the Eels. I like, not to spoil, but one of my hot takes is that he's going to 3-peat on the tons. If he does that, he's going to get a real big rise in price, and he might just be my ticket to Tom Trbojevic. And that's really something that's on my mind. I was going to skip on it, but I really think I can turn him into turbo quick smart.
Would you rather Cody, or would you rather spend the extra money on Drinkwater? Okay. Yeah,
well, for me, the Cowboys are coming third, and I don't think we can say it's a flash in the pan anymore. They're playing good football.
8 weeks, 7 weeks.
Yeah, and Drinkwater's doing it week in, week out. He looks like he's playing good footy, and I'd much rather pick up someone that looks like they're playing good footy than someone that's getting a bit lucky and getting some junk, which is kind of how I look at Cody. You know, he's had glimpses of form. We know what he can offer, but it's just not clicking at the moment, and I think there's risk involved with Cody, and I don't really want to rage trade. So I'd rather take Drinkwater knowing worst case scenario, I'm going to get a bulk of cash, and then I can deal with it if he does fall off a cliff.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to sit here and say Drinkwater's a bad buy when he's just gone 100. Like, you'd be stupid to say that it's not a genuine option, because he's been killing it, and the Cowboys have, for as much criticism as you and I gave them in the preseason, they have looked really, really good and really, really solid. And Lolo's back, Cotter's playing some great footy, Reece Robson is just playing unreal as well, and I didn't think this Deed and Townsend combination would work, but Todd Payton's getting the best out of them, and so you've got to give credit to the Cowboys where credit's due, and Drinkwater is just looking unreal, and Hamiso, maybe he goes back to centre, and that could be the case, and Drinky just could be the guy. I remember someone asked me 3 weeks ago, was he a buy? And I said no, because it's Scott Drinkwater, but he has just come on leaps and bounds, and he's looking fantastic. The next man on the list, Xavier Coates. Now, he's at a big price, but he's putting up some great scores. I think he scored 8-9 tries in 2 weeks or something ridiculous like that. Edward Cossey handed them on a platter, and then I can't remember who his matchup was last week. It would have been one of the Knights wingers. They handed him a plethora too. He has a minus 70 break even at 530k or whatever it is. Like, I think you said Drinkwater is your ticket to Turbo. I think Coates is my ticket to Manu for round 13 if this form can keep up, because he's going to make big cash. But is the price just too high, or are we seeing some 2021 Alex Johnson levels from Xavier Coates?
That comparison is exactly what I was going to raise. I feel like he is the new AJ, basically. He, like, a lot of it is kicks. Obviously, he's such a good component in the air, and he's getting a lot of tries off the kicks. So he's not maybe necessarily getting those 30-point jumps every time the same way that AJ did. But he scored 4 tries, 2 weeks ago. He scored 3 tries last week. It's getting to the point that those weeks you don't own him, it really hurts your score. And I felt that the last 2 weeks. He is definitely someone that I'm considering this week. It's just a matter of, I'm not sure which way I'm going at the moment. I've got a short list. He is on it. The news of May and Toto and even Tago, like, there's an option to get him for sure. And I think eventually you're going to want him for the stretch home. It's whether you pay 500 now, whether he hits 750 in a couple of weeks, or whether he falls back down to 350 after he goes a couple of weeks without a try. You just don't know. That's the problem. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm not too sure. And I am looking at Manu for the bye round, and Coates could be my guy because he's going to play Origin. Manu isn't, obviously. Like, that's a decent swap there. But Coates has been great for my side the last 2 weeks. The week before last, I had a great week, and Coates was just the cherry on top. Last week, I had a pretty poor week, and Coates was the one that sort of pulled me out of the fire and managed to keep my rank kind of similar to where it was. So he's been great. The amount of smack talk that I gave him all preseason, we ended up jumping on him in the dying hours before lockout round 1. Very glad I did. I didn't buy him expecting him to make me 400k, but look, if he can score another 80, he's going to go, a big 100, 80 in his rolling average.
and he could honestly go up to low 700s in a matter of weeks, and I'd definitely be moving him on then and potentially buying him once the tries stop coming, and then you can basically pick him up at a bottom dollar price. I hate you because I was the number one ticket holder of the Harry Grant train all preseason. We got talked out. We got talked on the Reed Marnie, and I've been ruining the day ever since because I keep saying the attack's going to stop. The attack has to stop. But Melbourne putting on 50 points a week, Harry Grant he's just so lethal. Like, he runs the ball so much. It's a pain to watch him if you don't own him. Like, this is the reason why you and I said he was the greatest hooker by far for Supercoach this year, and he's just paying tenfold. I had a projection of about 80 points a game on him, and he's exceeding that. He is unreal.
Yeah, Harry Grant is a very welcome member of the Brew World Order. It's so funny that I ended up with him and you didn't. But anyway, you said that it's you were talking about him. I'll tell you what, it was painful owning him last week. Don't get me wrong, it was great. It was great, but at the same time, he was killing Munster. He was killing Pappy. At one stage, they had scored 6 or 7 tries, and not one of those tries had come to a 7-6 or a 1.
Yeah,
that was a
crazy
7-6 or a 1.
I think it was like 36-0 at the time. Yeah,
like I had the cap on Pappenhausen, and Pappenhausen ended up
blessed on the absolutely. Sorry. Can we just talk on Pap? Pap got 100 points doing fucking nothing, and I was filthy because I saw you captain him and I captained Cleary. I was just like, what did Pap do? But I guess when you're kicking 47 goals a game, that's going to help.
Yeah, I think he got given 3 extra try assists. One of those I agree with, because I feel like he kind of drew multiple men in before the quick catch and pass to the winger. But the other 2, historically have gone to the center. So I can't say I'll complain because I wanted him to get a ton and he got a ton. But watching the game when he was on 70, I was ropeable. I was like, bloody hell, like, how do you score nearly 50 points or 50 points, whatever they did score, and only get 70 when you're the goal kicker? But yeah, but I blamed Harry Grant because Harry Grant, everything he was touching, he was just absolutely destroying them.
He's so good, and you've got to have him in. I'm the same. Cam Murray, though, the jury's out on Cam Murray. I don't know if I can get behind him because, like, I don't know.
He's not going to score every week.
Yeah, but then again, like, does Harry Grant score every week? That's the counterintuitive. I mean, like, I just feel like his minutes are going to take a plummet over Origin, and for a guy that is so reliant, I'm not going to say so reliant on attack, but you know what I mean. Like, it definitely boosts him up. Can we pay, like, this is probably sky high price for Cam Murray, and I don't know if I'm confident paying that.
No, don't. If you don't own him, don't buy him now. Wait till post Origin. He always goes on a tear after Origin. Right now, you're paying a premium. What you said is a good point. Over Origin, they're definitely going to manage his minutes. Outside of that, I'm sure he'll go back to high minutes. He's the captain. They obviously want him to have solid minutes, which is great. But don't pay the premium for him.
For some reason, Zoom has changed how they're doing things. So you're going to get kicked out of this meeting. I'm going to have to fly solo for 3 or 4 minutes, and I'm going to have to make a new one on the fly as we're doing the live stream. So we'll do that. I'll cover for it. We've got 10 minutes, so we'll go from there. Who else we got on this? Jason Tamalolo. He's back. He's not back to 2017, 2018 Lolo, but he's back.
Look, I don't mind it because he does play the first buy, so it's not the worst option. I was $1,000 short of getting that done this week. I was going to go Arrow up to Lolo for Origin reasons, and for the fact that Jai Arrow scores exactly 50 points every single week and never scores a try.
What could have been?
He's
starting to really piss me off.
Oh yeah, he's pissing me off too. I'm yelling at the TV watching South games because Koala gets 47 tries and 400 touches a game, and Arrow virtually just tackles the entire game. He just tackles and never looks like scoring a try.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Who else we got on the list? IPAP. Now didn't have a great week last week. I bought him 2 weeks ago before we went on that like big 130 odd, and I was contemplating paying the prices then, but like you're even paying more of a premium for him now. If he played round 13, I reckon I'd be more on board for this, but the fact he plays round 17, I'm not keen to pay the sky high price in IPAP just yet. But I can see why people are doing it because I can have a look at sort of what trades are being made, and a lot of the trades are going from Fafita to an IPAP or a Haas to an IPAP. So I can understand that situation, but if you're trading him in for anyone else, I'm not a huge fan of it.
I like Tavita Pangai, actually, for people looking for an option. I think the doggies will take a lot from their win last week. Their draw is now coming out of the really, really tough stage. He's been playing, on average between 65 and 80 minutes, and we know what he can do with minutes. So I personally am looking at Pangai, and I'd do that before I went IPAPI at a high price.
Yeah, definitely. And the last one on the list, Ruben Cotter. Now, Ruben Cotter was frustrating the hell out of me. Every week I didn't play him. He would go huge. Every week I would play him. He did nothing. Last week, he played big minutes, and the bench makeup is the exact same, so I expect him to play big minutes again this week. Finally gets named to start after weeks and weeks and weeks of being named on the bench and then just being moved in before game day. I feel like Ruben Cotter is a big price to pay as well. I feel like maybe overpaying here.
It's one of those situations. It just depends. If that number 10 is his jersey now and he's going to play 55 or 60 minutes a week, then he might not be a bad option. But as you said, he's been quite polarizing. I got on him really early as well, and he's been annoying me because some weeks he'll get 37 and other weeks he'll get 65. Now, last week he just beast moded it, and he did that from the get-go, and his score just kept ticking up and up and up. I'm interested to see if that happens again. So it'll be a keen watch for me this week, but he is, I think, 470K off the top of my head. It might be a case of now or never, but at the same time, I wouldn't do it with confidence being an owner because he's been very frustrating to own far for me.
Yeah, same for me. I reckon we will take a very, very short break for the live stream. You're going to jump off, and for the audio, I'm just going to pause it, and we'll be back very shortly. All right, so I've paused the podcast. For some reason, my man, Zoom is wanting me to pay up front, and it never used to do that. So you're going to bounce out of this call. I'm going to make a new one. You'll be back, and then we'll go from there. Before you die, I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, a bit unwell.
All right, so it's just me for now. I'm very, very sorry about... where are we? Yeah, very, very sorry. Don't worry about these trades. I'm very, very sorry for the weird Zoom. I don't know why it is doing that, but I will invite Brew to another call. It's very good that you guys are getting around him. It's very, very nice to see, Brew is missed because, we know what was happening. Let's invite the big man back into the call. I apologize. I didn't realize this was going to do this live on air. And while we wait for Brew, I can probably answer a couple of questions that you guys have, in the chat that I could hopefully help with. But yeah, fantastic to see Brew back, and I'm really, really excited to have him back on. He is in a much, much better mindset for SuperCoach. So a lot of questions. Yeah, I know it's not paused. So a lot of questions around Greg Marzu, and I just don't love that. I think Aman was in the chat before talking about Greg Marzu, and I'm not particularly a huge fan of any Titans sort of options right now. But as Bruce said in the chat, for those dropping questions, we will definitely get to them at the end, as we do every week. We make sure to answer your guys' questions at the end, but we have a run sheet, and it is hard for us to sometimes get to them. Hold Payne Haas. Now, we will talk on Payne Haas. You've literally got us right in the middle of sort of where we are in the run sheet. We've just gone over the best buy options. We're about to touch on the best sell options as well, and Payne Haas is featuring on there. So Brew and I will give our thoughts on Payne Haas. What do you think about Sam Walker? I think the Sam Walker train, we probably just have to give up on it. Like, Sam Walker, realistically, probably just isn't doing what we want him to do, unfortunately, and the Roosters draw just isn't there, and it's just not really happening. Ruben Garrick, however, is enticing. I am looking at him as well, just at that premium centre wing. Like, he is a decent option. I really, really like the idea of Ruben Garrick. What do we got? What are some of the buys and sells for the week? Well, my man, we just went over all the best options for buys. There's a couple of good cheapies. Obviously, the guys like Cam Munster and Harry Grant. Like, you're going to need to pile up in Melbourne Storm options because they're just putting up points galore. All right, Brewski is back. Let's get the show back on the road. All right, we are back on the podcast. Thank you very much for giving us a minute there. Brew, we were just going over sort of our top, or the top buy options that people are bringing in this week, and now we move on to the sells, and it's highlighted by Payne Haas. Now, he isn't the most sold player this week, but he's definitely a huge focal point that we will touch on. But David Fifita, out for at least 4 weeks with that MCL, wasn't really setting the world on fire anyway. Obvious clear-cut sell here, that there's no point at holding. I just can't get. I can't get around holding Fifita for 4 weeks. I just don't see any value.
Oh, no way. He costs way too much money. I'd be selling him off as quickly as you can.
100%. Nothing more to say there. Lockie Ilias. A lot of people are moving Lockie Ilias on. I think he's finding his feet in first grade. I don't think he's peaked at all just yet, and I don't think we've seen the best of him.
I just don't think he's a Supercoach player, to be honest. But in NRL level, I think he's starting to find his feet.
I think it just comes down to break even and what we can get out of him. Like, I don't think he's an urgent sell. Like, he's not someone that you've got to panic. I think Ilias may be a bit of a luxury sell personally.
Yeah, he doesn't play the buy but, so if you can get an option, and there is another option that I'm looking at personally.
Oh, well, let's touch on that shortly. Number 3 on the most sold list, Talon May. Now, if it's confirmed that he's the one making way for Brian Toto, he becomes number 1 most sold out. I'm not holding him for the Origin 550k. Like, I'm just not holding him. However, if he does stay on the left wing with Brian Toto going to the right wing, is he still a hold? Because I have toyed with the idea of potentially selling him.
Yeah, I've been looking at. See, it's just the buys. If it wasn't for the buys, I'd be selling either Tago or May. At the moment, I'm actually selling Penasini this week because Parramatta's draw is about to turn to shit. And both the Penrith boys do play the first buy, and if I can hold May until that first buy, then obviously I'll have an extra buy number. He is the type of guy that could score 120 points that week, so it might be worth selling him. I know you said you don't want that cash on the bench, but if I've got the depth to hold it, I'm going to look at the option. Yeah, I'm not sure. Surely they don't. Surely Staines gets dropped.
You'd think so. Like,
Talon May goes to the right wing. Like, that makes that, like, Toto's not moving sides.
No, see, I think
that's happening.
I think the opposite. I think Toto just moves to the right and they keep this Tago May combination. Like, we have to remember, Brian Toto was a right-sided winger like 2 years ago, and he had that really good combination with Stephen Crichton, and then Matt Burton came in and that sort of threw everything out. Maybe Ivan just keeps the Tago May and Crichton Toto combination, and then you obviously got Nathan Cleary on that right hand side as well. Like, it just could be.
What side does he play New South Wales Origin?
He played left wing last year, and they moved Adokar over. But
Adokar's normally a left side winger, so I guess there is an option. I was going to say he's not going to risk his Origin jersey by playing on the right side. But
I don't think it matters
with Adokar. Yeah, true.
Because,
I guess that is an option.
Yeah, I think that happens. But I do think we will find out before, obviously, Friday as to what's happening, because the 24-hour mail will come in. And look, mate, the elephant in the room, Payne Haas, out for a week. I'm on the sell fence. Why? Because I feel like his minutes could be managed over Origin. We could go back to seeing sort of... Remember what we saw from Payne Haas last year in the early parts of the season when there was like Matt Lodge and Tavita Pangai there? It was Payne Haas getting 63 points. Not the Payne Haas that finished the season getting 75 points. And with this AC injury, I know it's not a long-term thing, but maybe Kevy just doesn't want to run him into the ground heading into Origin. I'm thinking he's a sell.
I'd be on the fence with that decision because, obviously you're going to end up getting him back in. Even a bad Payne Haas is probably still going to get you serviceable points. Yeah, I'm not too sure when it comes to Haas. I'd probably hold myself.
Yeah, you're not an owner, so I guess it's different for you looking from the outside. I am an owner. I've only been an owner for 2 weeks. I owned him for one hit up and I broke him. So I'm selling, and you'll see why I'm selling. I think it makes a bit of sense. And the last man on the list, he has a lot of controversy when people were selecting him in the preseason. He has repaid owners tenfold. He has been the perfect stepping stone to Nathan Cleary, and that is Mitchell Moses. Now, I think Mitch Moses, the line in the sand for him was always round 8 because the draw gets very, very ugly. I think he's done his job. He's been fantastic. You move him on. If you can find the cash, hell, I don't hate moving him on to Tom Trbojevic personally. Maybe move some jewels around if you can find the extra 200k, you get Turbo in, because I'm sure people have Cleary and Hines in by now, and if you don't own Pappenhausen, then what are you doing? Moses is a sell for you?
Absolutely. Moses was a sell 2 weeks ago.
Ooh.
I sold Moses to get Cleary, and he repaid the faith by getting 7 last week. So I was very happy with that decision. Yeah, he's definitely a sell. I'd sell him first to Cleary, second to Turbo via Jules if you can do that. I'm assuming you've already got Nico Hines. If you don't,
Yeah, I'm just imagining everyone has Hines and Pap, and then like if you don't have Cleary, then obviously Cleary. But if you've got Cleary, yeah, maybe Turbo.
No, Drinkwater, if you've got the Jules as well, is a really good option because then you're riding cash. You've ridden Moses, as far as you can price wise. Maybe he's lost a little bit last week. I haven't checked. And then you ride again, obviously, with Thingo. So you get 200K profit or whatever from the trade, and then you make another probably 200K. So moves like that can work.
Good afternoon. This is your captain speaking.
Captains, now you and I went in different directions last week. I was on the Cleary train, you're on the Pap train, and you were kissed on the dick tenfold. Mate, when it comes to your team personally, where are you sitting? And then I guess we'll give our overview of the round.
At the moment, my order of captains goes Pappenhausen, then Cleary. But that's partially because of the order that they play.
Yeah.
Let me just have a look. Oh, the Dragons. Yeah, I prefer Pappenhausen as the captain this week. So my captains in order for this week go Pappenhausen, Cleary, Nico Hines, Drinkwater at 4, and then Tom Trebojevic at 5. They're the 5 guys I'd look at.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cleary VC route into Pap C. But for a couple of other options, I've got Cody Walker as a potential VC option. I've got Nathan Cleary as a VC option, as we just touched on. Turbo as well, as you also put in the call. I've got Drinkwater as a VC as well, so we've overlapped a little bit here. I've put the Storm, and in big capital letters, anyone. Whoever you own from the Storm, just put the captaincy on him. And Hines as well. Like, it's hard to pass him up as well. But personally, I'm leaning towards the same option as you. Cleary VC into Hines C personally. Let's move on to hot takes. Last week, I had Lomax over 85. Tigers just, for some reason, held him quietly. I had IPAP getting over 100. Didn't happen. And then I had something else. I think I had Blake Taff with a bounce back over 60, and he did, which was nice. This week, I have gone the shoe. I've gone the shoe out to outscore the guac. So I've got Josh Schuster to outscore Hambal Olakawatu. I've got Grant, Pappenhausen, and Munster to combine for 400 plus. And I've got Talakai.
So. I've
got Talakai for a bounce back 80.
Okay. I've got Drinkwater going the 3-peat, so another ton this week for Drinkwater. I got Turbo to come back this week and score a ton, his first ton for the season. And I got Mitchy Moses to go sub 40 this week. I'll even say sub 30 if you want something really bold.
Spicy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to report a trade.
I've got no idea. I've got dead set no idea what I'm doing. I've got a rough idea when it comes to my trades. I'm thinking Russell out to Tass, Haas out to Grant. I think those two I'm definitely locked in on. But then I'm tempted to boost Brodie Jones out for our boy Adam Elliott. I don't know if I love that, but it means I wouldn't have to play like Max King as my last reserve. I could play Adam Elliott. But I think I'm definitely locked into Russell to Tass and then Haas to Grant, just because I feel like I need Grant. Like personally, it's giving me aneurysms not owning Harry Grant.
You have to own Harry Grant. So if you're selling Haas to get Harry Grant, I'll take that because, Grant can get 100 every week. In terms of what else you said, Elliott also plays the first buy, and we're not too far off that buy. So it's not the worst move. And, Brodie Jones has done okay, but he hasn't set the world on fire. How long is he out injured?
Is he injured? I heard he was dropped, so I don't know.
Oh, is he dropped?
I don't know.
I just saw him with a red circle. So
yeah, no, he hasn't been named. Like, he wasn't even in the extended, so I'm not too sure. But I'm trying to get the hashtag boost for Elliott trending. So head on Twitter and just use the hashtag boost for Elliott, because that's what I'm trying to... I'm not too sure if it's worth it. But getting out Brodie Jones... Look, I was probably never holding Brodie Jones to around 17 anyway, because, like, his time in the sun was up by then.
Oh, no way.
And then, like... Yeah, I'd rather...
You're talking about 10 weeks' time.
I'd rather just hold...
too far ahead.
I'd rather just hold Tuolangi that long. Like, if I'm going to hold one of those mediocre 2RFs, I'd rather just hold Tuolangi.
Yeah, he's another disappointing cow.
And the fact that, like... Look, I didn't have high hopes for Andrew Fafita, but, like, I was hoping to get more than 6 weeks out of him, which he looks like he's been dropped. So I'm potentially looking to boost for Adam Elliott because he's got that big minus break even, plays around 13. But like, look, if he played for any other team, slam dunk. Don't even question it. But he plays for Ricky Stewart, who could just drop him to fucking New South Wales Cup next week, and we look like absolute dickheads. But I feel like it's just too good to pass up. Like, my gut told me on Monday, get Elliott in. Everyone on Twitter said, don't get Elliott in. But, like, my gut feel just tells me that, like, he could average 60, and at 350K, like, I'll take that to the bank.
Yeah, well, you know, we're both risk takers. We both play the game hard. So I'll tell you, he's definitely one I'm looking at. I'm looking at Drinkwater, looking at Guacamole. I just don't know what to do with Sam Walker.
Move him on, man.
May, obviously, as well.
Sam Walker,
he plays the bye.
Yeah, you could. I was going to say you could probably hold for the bye. Actually, now that I think about it, and
Which is what I was thinking today. But it's also at the same time,
it's also good that Adam Kieran isn't there as well. Like minuscule, but like it probably just solidifies the goal kicking even more for you.
Yeah. Well,
but you guys suck.
Goal kicking doesn't really matter if you're not scoring any.
I was going to say you guys are awful. What the hell's happened?
And he misses every second kick. So, like, this is the Roosters upcoming. So they play the Gold Coast, and they'll lose this weekend. They then play Parramatta. We have a really good record against Parramatta, so we may pull a win there. But at the same time, you know, Parra's been a good side, and they need to bounce back. We then play Penrith, rip. We then play the Sharks, rip. We play Canberra, but that's on bye weekend, so we'll probably be missing some players there. So we'll probably lose that. Then we play the Storm. We're losing that. Then we play Para again. Penrith. Like, Jesus Christ.
You got stitched up.
The Roosters could lose the next 8 games. Like, so then I'm sitting there going, like, the way they're playing, I may as well just get rid of them and you know, say the hell with the buy number because I can get Drinkwater and at least make some cash. And I, to be honest with you, I really want to get Tom Trbojevic as soon as I can. Like, as soon as I can.
I didn't realize how bad your draw was because I was looking at Joey Manu. But now I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe not.
Honestly, right now, like not Papali'i because he's a forward, but I'd be selling off your Eels and your Roosters. Neither of them play the first bye. Their draws are both awful.
Roosters play first. Roosters play first bye.
Roosters do play the first bye.
That's why I've held Tupou. That's why I held him over. Like when Tupou got suspended for the 1 week, I held because of the bye, and I also bought Suwali. I went from having 6 Roosters assets round 1 to 2. And I think that's Suwali and Tupou.
Yeah, well, I've got Suwali now, and even him, like he's not setting the world on fire. And then I've got Walker, who's probably going to go this week, and I've got Fletcher Baker, who's purely just being held for his duel and the fact that he does play the first bye at the moment. He's not making any cash. He's not losing any cash. So he just sits there. Yeah. So I'm not too sure what to do at the moment. I'm thinking I'm going Walker to Drinkwater, and I'm probably going Penasini to Adam Elliott via Jules because it does give Tago back down to the centers for me, which is what I want.
Yeah, I need to get Tago back down to my centers ASAP. So problem is there's too many good 2RFs coming up. So we're going to get Talakai as well. Talakai is going to pick up Jewel very, very shortly as well. So we'll move him on. But mate, I reckon that's going to wrap up the first pod. You're back off the back fence. We'll get you in for a nice short and sharp one. First episode back. You'll be back on Sunday. And then after your extended time off, yeah, I'm giving you a week leave because there'll be no podcast next week. So you're back for 2, off for 2. So no, it's fantastic to have you back, mate. As you can see, the chat is absolutely loving you, and I'm sure all the audio listeners that have been following along, like just a huge reception to when I announced that you were taking some time away, and then an even bigger reception when I announced that you were back. So it's very, very good to have you back, my man. And yeah, I'm sure that you're happy because I'm sure your missus is very happy as well that you're back. Don't have to hound her with trade questions. You can finally got a platform to put it out in the world, my man.
My missus has been going all right in Supercoach, actually.
Better than you, or?
No, not overall rank, but she's had some big weeks. Like,
yeah, awesome.
Like, I remember I bashed her for getting Cleary because I was like, why did you do that? You know, he's $1 million. Like, just wait 2 or 3 weeks and you get him for 800, and then bang, he just goes 100, and she keeps captaining him and putting shit on me. But Yeah, so she doesn't like my trade advice anymore anyway, so that's all good.
No, fair enough, my man. As always, we're going to end the podcast audio feed, and we'll be live exclusive on YouTube for another 15 minutes so to answer all your burning trade questions. But as always, I've been the Dual Position Podcast for the first time in a long time, joined by Brew. You've been listening to the Dual Position Podcast. As I said, we'll be back Sunday with a round recap, and we'll hopefully be talking some pretty good positives. Hopefully we'll both see some green arrows, my man. Give us a sign off. Thank you very much as always, and we will see you on Sunday.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for it, guys. It was good to be back. See you Sunday.
Very, very good. Bye, guys. All righty, YouTube. Let's answer some questions. I'm seeing a lot of love for Greg Marzhew. I was talking about this when you had your little intermission break. I can't get behind any Titans players, hey?
I do love Marzhew. I wanted Marzhew to start the season, but he wasn't named, and then all of a sudden he's just gone out and won the spot. I haven't looked too much into the Titans, to be honest, so I'd have to basically look one up and see what their draw looks like. Do they play the first bye? I don't think they do, the Titans.
Titans, no, they do not.
Yeah, I'd probably be trying to target him after the first bye then.
Someone asked, what do we think of Cherry Evans or Drinkwater? I just think Drinkwater because of the buy factor.
Yeah, I do too. Look for Cherry for the run home, maybe.
Yeah, Cherry will explode.
Cherry has been going very good, but
he has been
NRL
like
level
solid.
especially. He's been one of the best halves in the comp, I must say.
Yeah, he's been exceptionally solid. Starling, Amon, and Frizzell to Task, Grant, and Elliott. I don't want anyone else getting on the Elliott train. I just want Elliott to be brought in by two people this week, and that's you and me. No one else. No one else is allowed to have him.
They're good trades. Whoever asked that,
they are good trades. Is Starling a sell now? Now I've seen this one a bit. I don't know if I can give up on him because like his break even's like 60, so he's not going to kill you. He should still pump at 40s off the bench, and I'm probably just going to hold for the extra number and then sell him on from there.
No, I wouldn't sell him because I honestly think they just don't want Starling
playing
in the heat of the start.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think they want him coming on when bodies are a little bit more tired, and he could actually see a benefit from that if Ricky gets it right. So I wouldn't trade him yet. I'd see how they go this week. You know, their matchup's not terrible this week. See how it goes and see if he still has that impact. I can still see him averaging 60 plus.
The reason why I'm so keen on Elliott is not just because he's not just like a hooker. Like, you know how Matt Frawley came on and played the first 20 like a couple weeks ago and that was it? Like, Elliott offers the side so much more than that. Like, Elliott can play through the middle and play on an edge, and I feel like he'll still get decent-ish minutes. And like he should still be seeing 50 plus minutes a game. And at 370k, that's all we need, isn't it?
He can handle the heat too. So, and he's going to make a lot of tackles being a forward playing there. So, and he's got the mobility. He's not huge. So I think he'll be playing 50 to 60 minutes and he should make a shitload of tackles, to be honest with you.
Someone's asking about selling Haas to who? I think we've already said we like Pengai. Pengai's at like
I love Pengai.
560k. 560k. The Bulldog. Remember all our preseason planning, mate. We've always said these Bulldogs assets, they get better at round 8, round 9. That's when their draw opens up, and he plays round 13. I do like Pengai a lot. He's not doing much and still getting 60s.
Who's just commented on the Patriots draft grade?
Oh boy,
I love that.
Don't even talk to me about the Patriots draft grade.
Do we want to talk to about Cole
Strange?
Guys?
I've already ordered.
It's an NRL podcast.
Already ordered my Cole Strange jersey. For anyone that doesn't know, my last name is Strange. It's my last name is literally Strange. So when I saw that my favorite NFL team took a guy with my last name, I ordered that jersey immediately. But yeah, no, our draft grade is like C- is like a compliment. It was terrible. But yeah, no, I do like Pengai because I just like Pengai because like he's doing nothing and getting 60s in these tough matchups, and you think the attack comes. Like the Bulldogs just look like they're getting better.
Honestly, I don't think the Bulldogs have been as bad as what people make out. I think they've had a really tough draw. Like anyone could see that they had a tough draw. They've been in the contest most weeks. Yes, there was a couple of thrashings, but you know what? I don't even think you can include Melbourne as a thrashing anymore because they thrash everyone.
Someone just put in big capital letters. Why is no one talking about Shaquille Mitchell? Because he was just dropped. He's not playing.
Yes. Yeah, he's not an option, guys.
No.
He also doesn't play the first bye. trying to find some more questions.
Ravens draft though with a fire emoji. Can confirm Ravens draft was fire emoji.
Stop talking about NFL. We'll be here all night.
We will. Someone asked, is Stephen Crichton playing Origin? If he's not, he's an automatic buy, right? I don't think so. I wouldn't say he's an automatic buy.
I don't think he's an automatic buy.
I don't think he plays Origin either.
I think he's very much on the cusp of playing Origin.
I would think Campbell Graham would be slightly ahead just because of the fact that he was in the squad last year, personally.
No.
Who else? We got a couple more questions, then we'll finish up. Is it bad that I only have 22 trades left? Yes, if you keep trading. Like, go hard the first 8 weeks, but then just get set up. That's my thinking. We'll do a couple more. Hey, boys, do you guys think that... Hang on, let me make you a tudge smaller so I can see the... so I can see the chat. Hey, boys, do you think about DeFi, Moses, and Cobbo for Olakau'atu, Turbo, Tass? Oh, my goodness.
Do it.
I'm not even reading the rest of the question. Just do it. Four booths down into 23, not a Cleary owner. If you're not a Cleary owner, then get Turbo. You're going to have one of them. So, yeah. A lot of love for Angus Crichton as well, Brewski, because he's bottomed out. But I just feel like he plays Origin. Like, I feel like Freddie loves him. He's going to play Origin, and I'm not keen on it.
Look, he's 500K. I think he'll, at worst case scenario, he'll probably be 18th man.
Yeah, I just think he gets
for
a bench
Origin.
spot.
But he probably either gets a bench. There's probably people that have jumped ahead of him, and I could see him playing off the bench. He's proven in Origin, so I can't see why they drop him. He is 500K, but he's still not scoring very well. And I really don't like that they've switched him to the right side.
That's what I was going to say. Like, until he's on the...
just killed his output. Like,
until he's on the left, I'm not keen.
Yeah.
We'll do 2 more and then we'll finish up. Josh Jackson for Haas. Plays round 13, has been getting 80 minutes lately. I did look at Josh Jackson. He has been averaging 65, bro. He has a 65 3-round average, and he's like 500K. Plays round 13. Cheaper than Pangai and averaging more over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I haven't looked at him, so...
Okay, I've looked at him. So he's averaging 65 for a 3-round average. He's priced at 500K. Plays the first buy. Playing big minutes, obviously, like a clubman. He's not exciting. The problem is he doesn't have the upside. Like, if you're looking between like him and Josh Schuster or him and Pangai, I'd rather those just because they have the upside. That's just me personally. I'm ordering a Sauce Gardner jersey without the name and smearing tomato sauce in the back. Good joke. Okay, we'll do one more. And we'll go from there. I'm trying to find a good one to end on.
I've seen a few. So someone was asking Schuster versus Olakau'atu. I still go Olakau'atu.
Yeah, if money is an issue, go Ola. But Schuster is like, he was look good his first game back, ball playing and nicely. I want to see. I would wait on both of them just this week because Schuster isn't going to go up in price. And Olakau'atu gets Turbo back. I want to see how Olakau'atu goes with Turbo. So I would maybe hold off 1 week.
I don't think it'll impact him, to be honest, Olakau'atu.
Okay, hang on. Murray to Schuster with Turbo returning. Surely some points coming and can use the cash elsewhere. I think this just goes hand in hand. I don't know if I'd sell Murray. Like, what's Murray's break even? I'd have to look at it. I don't know if I'd sell Murray, but I wouldn't go buying him.
I'll tell you.
All right. While you find that, will Pangai play Origin? No, he won't.
No, he's got a 65 break even.
Okay, so yeah, he's not going to make a bunch of cash. He'll hit it. I'd maybe hold. I wouldn't go buying Schuster just yet. Schuster's got 1 more week until he changes.
Murray's got the 65 break even.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like Murray will hit that, but you don't need to rush and get Schuster just yet because
he's not going to move in price this week.
He'll move in price next week. Last question. Thoughts on Ilias, Hiku, and May to Walker/Drinkwater, Elliott, and Tass. So we're trading at Ilias for Walker or Drink. You're on the fence for going Drink there. Hiku out for Elliott, and then May for Tass. I don't know if I trade out May until we get confirmation, honestly. I feel like he's a guy that we all own, and if he goes big, it's going to really hurt you.
Yeah, I'm trying. That's why at the moment I'm selling Penasini. Obviously, if need be, I can switch that to May.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. One more. Because this is interesting. Is Sonny Luke a downgrade from Randall? You think Appy goes into...
seems to be quite set now.
Do you think Appy goes into Origin camp? Surely he goes into camp. Surely he's probably the second best hooker the New South Wales have in Freddie's eyes.
Yeah, probably. I was sitting there going, wait, Grant, Queensland,
No.
Cook, New South Wales. Who's the second for each?
Marnie is the Queensland's next one. Ben Hunt. Yeah, I don't mind Sonny Luke as a downgrade from Randall. Just you're obviously not playing him. I think Sonny Luke's a better option to have than who do you have? Tyron Wishart?
Oh yeah, he's becoming an issue for me too.
Oh, he's now playing. He's now actually playing minutes as well. So you're rooted. Yeah, brutal.
It kills my loop.
Yeah.
Like I literally can't loop whilst he gets named, so it's hurting me.
I would go Sonny Luke, and I also really like Ruben Garrick if you can find the cash as well. I think it's Garrick's time. I think it's Garrick's time.
Actually, how much is Sub?
Oh, he's out for 4 weeks. But I was looking at him because he was like less than 300k or some shit.
Oh, he's 230. Yeah, he's 237. All right.
I was actually going to buy him. So Tupolotto at 290k. He'll be playing on that right edge or right wing. I
would get him. He was a bottom. Get Isaiah Tass.
He was a bottom dollar cheapie, but he's also 120k more than Tass. He's now gone up in price. You'd think that spot is pretty locked in for the next month. 290k. Yeah, you getting behind Tupolotto?
Yeah, I'd pick him before I pick Tass just because he does play the bye. So you got to factor in there's an extra, say, 40 points over that period of time. Plus, he's going to obviously make the cash, which is more guaranteed than Tass. You don't want to get Tass and then he gets dropped in a week or two and your money becomes dormant. So as much as I love Tass as a player, Tupolotto is a better option for Supercoach.
Very, very last one. Ted Woods, good contributor to the Supercoach world. In big capital letters, who is more important, Angus or Coates? Well, one of them scores 47 tries. One of them has a negative break even and 47 tries a game. The other one can barely crack his side's first 13. So I would be going Coates.
Coates, hands down, is more important for your cash production and points. I
have been the SD Whisperer. I've been joined by Brew for the first time in a long time. Very, very excited to have you back. That rank is going to go down, my man, next week. We're going to get it trending downwards, and hopefully mine trends downwards too. But hopefully you've enjoyed the pod and the questions. I will see you guys on Thursday for the kickoff countdown, and then Brew and I will be back on Sunday for the round recap. Thanks for watching.